Recently, Pope Francis said that lust, i.e. infidelity, isn't really that big of a sin. This was in regards to a politician, someone in France. I don't remember exactly who. I read the article a couple days ago, and I just kind of did a double take. And it had me thinking, if he's going to rank the 7 deadly sins, shouldn't I? I think I should. So we're going to do it. My head's still in the way, isn't it? Damn it. I just can't zoom in quite, and you can't customize that to not be so freaking big. All right. Now, this is loosely based on the movie The 7 Deadly Sins, but also, whatever religious texts or older books from back in the day that mention the 7 deadly sins. I think we should rank them. I think we should have some fun with this. Now, what order do we want to go in? Because if we do it in the order of the movie, gluttony's first. What's in the box? Exactly. So here's the thing. And by the way, let me real quick change the title. Ranking the 7 deadly sins. And we'll change this from Sable to just chatting. All right. Now we're in business. I made this. All right. Now, gluttony. Gluttony's fun. I love to eat a lot. Who doesn't? But don't eat too much, or you're a glutton. To me, gluttony is taking more than you need. I don't think gluttony is very cool. I try not to eat too much. I try not to take more than I need. There's a jar of candy at the bank. I take 1 or 2 out of there. At the most. Is 2 gluttony? Maybe you should just take 1. If it says take 1, I only take 1. Don't be gluttonous, all right? People who are gluttonous, we're going to put it down there. It's also kind of a lower tier sin, don't you think? Because gluttony is something that we all have partaken in at some point in our lives. I would even argue all of these are things that we have taken, that we have partaken in. Black Metal in the chat says, if we consider the world impacts of food scarcity, it's pretty bad. True. And some people and in some nations take more than others. You could say the same thing about the power grid, electricity. We have X amount of people in our nation versus how much power we use. You could make all sorts of arguments about gluttony, but it's basically people using more resources than they need. On Thanksgiving, I'm a glutton. That's about the only day that I do that. But in terms of the power of the sin, I think it's lower on the list. I'm going to put it as a D. Greed. Now, greed kind of ties in with gluttony a little bit, but it's more financially driven. And greed sucks. All right? Greedy people suck, and that is an F. There's no two ways about it. All right? You want to talk about the Elon Musks of the world and the Jeff Bezoses. At least Bill Gates does things more charitable things with his money than most other people of his level of financial prowess. We don't have much here in this channel, in this house. I'm happy with what we have. I have more than a lot of people have. But we try to give back here, right? For the doggos and for the people who need them. We're not greedy. Greed sucks. And I'm ranking it as an F. You're right, Black Metal. It does segue into greed well. Now, sloth is a little different. We're going to go to sloth. Sloth. I like being lazy. We're going to put this as an A tier. All right? Now, last Sunday, I'd gotten my booster the day before. I just lazed around all day. My Fitbit basically showed about 3,000 steps for the entire day. Usually I average about 8 to 9,000 steps a day. I wasn't feeling well, right? I'm trying to recover. But boy, did it feel good to just lay there on my ass all day. And I thought, why don't I do this more often? Because I'm not a sloth, that's why. But it's not good to be too lazy. But here's the thing, and here's why I'm ranking this as this is a much better sin. If you're going to sin of these 7 deadly sins, sloth ain't deadly. Sloth ain't deadly. Sloth is kind of cool, actually. Because you're being lazy. Well, what's the definition of lazy? Now, I know we all have different definitions of things like gluttony and greed, but I think everyone pretty much knows it when they see it. Sloth? You laze around a lot? It's the weekend. I ain't doing shit. The lawn needs to be mowed. I'm not mowing it. Can it wait a couple more days? I want a day off. I don't consider that sloth. But that's kind of how I live my life. And don't you tell me that I'm lazy. All right? Sloth is okay in my books. Just work once in a while. Got to keep the machinery moving. All right? A tier. Lust. I gotta tell you, this is a tough one. I don't know where to rank lust. I feel like this is for so many different people. This word means something completely different to so many people. I'm not a lustful person. I don't have this ultra high sex drive. I'm just... Me personally, I think lust is a big problem in this world. Me Too, sexual harassment, the Bill Cosbys of this world, it stems from lust. And I'm putting lust way down here with greed. It might be the worst on this list because lust continues our patriarchal society. Does that sound woke? Maybe a little bit, but don't tell me I'm wrong. I'm right, and you know it. Black Metal. Lust that breaks someone's trust is bad. Lust because you want to get laid through Tinder is good. You see, mutual lust can be a good thing. Please use protection. There are enough children on this planet. There's not enough food to go around. Please, use birth control. Rarely does lust turn into good things. Love? Sexual love? Sure. Lust as itself, it's a shitty sin. It kind of goes with greed, except it's greed of the loins. All right? That's as close to a preacher as I'm going to come today by saying lust of the loins, greed of the loins, fruit of the loom. I rank it very low. It's a terrible sin. Lust is bad. Pride. People do things out of pride. Things they shouldn't do. People say things or don't say things because they're too proud. But I gotta be honest, there's such a gray area between damaging pride and being proud of something that you should be proud of. I don't think this is much of a sin at all. I will say though, if pride is an A, sloth is a B. We'll move sloth down a slot. I don't think pride's that big of a sin. I really don't. And you know what? I think the Pope would agree with me. The Pope thinks lust is okay. Well, he ranks it higher in terms of acceptability. Not me, but pride. I think it can be acceptable in some cases. Here on this channel, we should be proud of all the charitable stuff that we do, right? Now, I'm not buying a billboard. I'm not going down to Fremont Street in Vegas and paying for that ginormous LED screen to blast things out, right? That would be a little too much pride. But you should feel proud of your support of this channel because you're helping Canine Companions. You're helping Tardif is my service dog here, my little service dog. But you're helping people who need assistance animals. You should be proud of that. Black Metal in the chat says pride that turns into narcissism, very, very bad. Confidence, good.
Are you saying you're better than the Pope?
Better than the Pope? No. Have opinions that are arguable versus what the Pope said a couple days ago? Maybe. I have my own opinions, coming as someone who's not a man of faith, but someone who tries to live their life the right way. And if the Pope doesn't think lust is that bad of a sin, I think he's wrong. I think pride is very acceptable in a lot of cases. I think sloth is kind of cool. I think envy is mid-tier. Again, there's a gray area with envy. When we talk about being envious of someone else, I don't like to look at someone who's more accomplished than me and be jealous of them, be envious of them. I try to look at it as, how did they do that? How did they get there? Is that something that I can accomplish without changing who I am? Or I look at it and say, they just have skills I don't have. I wish I had those skills. Is that envy? To ask the questions, is that envy? I think on paper it is. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But there's the gray area. And you go over the gray area. Being too envious of someone can lead you to make very bad decisions. But I don't know that envy as a sin is really that bad. It's an attitude that you have towards someone else. You shouldn't let it affect the way you treat that person. And maybe that's where the sin is unforgivable. But in terms of on this list, I almost actually think it should be higher. I think it should be a B. It's better than average. Does it hurt anyone? When does envy ever hurt anyone? I have no idea. that leads us to the last of the 7 deadly sins. And I'd like to say, if you've watched this channel for more than a week, if you've been following me for more than a week, and you've watched me stream Valorant, you know that I'm a wrathful motherfucker, and that is an S tier, baby. Yeah! Get mad. Rage.
La 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 la.
Envy can tear apart friendships.
Envy can tear apart friendships. That's true. Very true. But wrath. Wrath fucking rules, man. Tap into your anger. I could quote Star Wars here, but I won't quite get that cheesy. I like wrath. I bring it.
La 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 la.
Wrath is the second worst next to greed in my opinion. It's so destructive.
It's so destructive. You're not wrong. It can be very destructive. It can eat away at you. I can get tilted when I'm playing a game and just be wrathful. But I'm wrathful at myself.
La 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 la.
Easy they Darth Sidious.
Who doesn't enjoy a little release of anger once in a while? When you listen to heavy metal, when you go to a concert and you mosh, is there wrath there? Probably not, but you're releasing pent-up energy. When I rage on stream, that's what I'm doing. I'm releasing pent-up energy. I'm releasing anger. It's anger usually aimed at myself because I suck at games. But without the ability to let that wrath out, I would explode. And I'll be honest, growing up, I kept my emotions bottled in. Never again. Alright, but if we're actually being honest, we're going to go ahead and put wrath down here to D. Full disclosure. It's not quite F tier for me, but it's definitely worse than gluttony. So, it's bad. Wrath is bad. You shouldn't be that way. Don't be like me, kids. Have a little healthy release of your emotions. Maybe not as much as I do sometimes. Alright. So we tried something a little different with tonight's tier maker. How do you feel about it? Because I think pride is the least of all of these sins, and that's why I have it as an A. I think sloth is kind of okay up to a point. We all need downtime. Now, if all you do is lay on your ass for weeks or months on end, that's too much. Huge window there. Envy? What is envy? I mean, what is it really? Wrath and gluttony? Bad. Greed and lust? The worst. Greed and lust is what's killing this planet. I'm sorry, let me correct that. Greed and lust are the two worst things that are killing humanity. Because when we're gone, the planet's going to be fine. It will heal. It won't take long for it to be right back to what it was before we fucked it up. But our greed and our lust is basically what is going to fuck us as humans. So, that's where I put those. How would you rank them? Let me know. Put it in the chat right now. If you're watching on YouTube, slap it down in the comments. I hope you all know this was tongue-in-cheek. I'm not a religious person. What the Pope said, whatever. I really don't give a shit. Like, I don't. It's entertainment value at best. It's content as far as I'm concerned. So, but maybe you take it more seriously. Maybe you have different thoughts on this. Let me know. But thanks for watching regardless.